What is up, guys? I'm George Mossey. This is the Family Chantel podcast. We're on season 3, episode 4, guys. We're 4 episodes in. This was kind of a historical lesson episode. We learned a lot about Karen's family background. Well, the entire family, Chantel's family background, but we found out that her dad is an ancestor of a plantation in South Carolina. So let's get to some of the drama that happened last night. So let's go back last week. So last week, Alejandro and Pedro had this huge fight, this blow up, this brawl on the streets of Brooklyn. Well, we find out tonight that it was actually the night before that Nicole and Alejandro almost, I don't want to say broke up, but they had a huge falling out. And we found out that Alejandro, who is actually married to someone else, who is dating Nicole, was also texting and talking to other girls. So at this point, Nicole doesn't even really feel like she wants to go on with him because he's not really being honest with her. So Pedro is kind of finding out now that fight was really a waste of time and it was in vain because this actual guy that's cheating on his sister, he's married to someone else, he's actually probably going to be history anyway. So that took place, and Nicole is actually upset because even though she has no real feelings for Alejandro at this point, she still feels like Pedro had no business putting his hands on Alejandro, as that was her boyfriend. And let's go back to a few seasons ago. We heard Chantel call Nicole quite a few crazy words, B words, the P prostitute, you name it. And Nicole feels like she's never reacted or fought with Chantel, so she feels Pedro should have given her the same respect. So at this point, it appears there's going to be a little revenge taking place, and Nicole is going to be making sure that Chantel knows exactly how she feels about her, since she feels that Pedro has taken it upon himself to fight with her boyfriend. All right, so let's switch gears a little bit. Pedro met with his cousin, a cousin actually in New York, who is very close with his family on his father's side, which he has not a lot of information about. And we find out that not only did his father have another family, but he has another son named Pedro Jose Jr., which is the exact same name as Pedro, which was extremely shocking. And it was very emotional for Pedro to see that this man, who he was not in his life, did that, had another family, and then named a son the same name that Pedro had. So this is getting very serious. So the cousin is going to set up a meeting with Pedro's family on his father's side, and they're going to meet everyone. And I'm assuming the father as well. So that is going to be later in the season. But Chantel feels that Lydia is probably aware of the other family, and she is hiding it from Nicole and Pedro. So this is something that we're going to be learning more about deeper into the season. Chantel feels like it's very peculiar that this guy has another family, and we knew that he was married. We found that out on the first season of The Family Chantel, but we were not aware that he had another family, and Chantel thinks it's very peculiar that that's information that Lydia wouldn't have. She feels like she does have that information. So we're going to find out later on if she's actually been withholding that information from her kids. All right, so let's talk about Karen's meeting with the historian. So the meeting actually went extremely well. There is no drama, no issues. After the meeting with the historian is where things went crazy, right? Because actually, Ja invited himself on a family gathering to this historian meeting to learn about the family. And Winter kind of sprung it on them. They just showed up. And Chantel assumed that he was dropping Winter off, but Ja was actually attending the meeting. So the meeting went fine. Everything was great. After dinner, Ja starts to discuss his religion, which I believe he called Nazarene. It's a biblical religion where they follow different rules of the Bible to the T. And one of them is not eating seafood or bottom feeders or shrimp or things like that, which is, it's kind of interesting because I grew up Seventh-day Adventist, and we didn't eat seafood or pork or that type of stuff as well. So I kind of understood it to an extent. The comment that he made was, if you eat like a bottom feeder, you think like a bottom feeder. And Karen felt personally attacked because she was ordering something, I believe, on the menu that was considered what he considered to be a bottom feeder. And she felt that that was personally attacking her, and she didn't understand how someone who was being welcomed into her family could talk to her this way, could actually make her feel like what she was eating made her less intelligent, made her less of a person towards him. And it really makes you wonder what type of religious teaching tells people that the food that you eat makes you less of a person. And it really makes you wonder what Winter has accepted as a religion, because Winter no longer celebrates Christmas. Remember back on last season, the Christmas sweater episode that everyone was talking about. She refused to wear a Christmas sweater because the religion that she is with Josh doesn't believe in Christmas. And it just caused this huge fight. And there were underlining issues though with that. It wasn't just simply the Christmas sweater. It was also some issues between Winter and Chantel that came out during that fight. But the root of the fight was because she didn't want to wear a Christmas sweater because it was a pagan holiday, which is something that Jaw and Winter do not believe in anymore. So it brings you to the question, how much is too much when it comes to religion, when you have to change your beliefs and change who you are and actually isolate yourself from your family for religion? And is this something that Winter is doing? So I think we're going to find out more about that later in the season. And there was no Megan this week. As of right now, Chantel and Karen and Winter and Thomas don't know about Megan yet, but we did see next week that River will be meeting Megan's friends, and it's not a very comfortable conversation, because they actually referred to him as a child and said that he shouldn't be living at home. So things are going to get heated as well. But there's a lot going on this season. We did see that Nicole is going to confront Chantel in the Dominican Republic in the coming episodes. So if you guys haven't been tuning in, make sure you tune in. This season has been incredible. Again, I'm George Mossey. This is the Family Chantel Podcast, Season 3, Episode 4. Make sure you live tweet with me every Monday night. I live tweet the show. And make sure you guys are watching it. I watch it on Discovery Plus, and then I live tweet the show as well. And if you guys feel any of this was insane like I did, make sure you comment below. I'll put my Twitter and Instagram at the bottom. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys real soon.